欢迎收看球场第一排琼斯杯特辑。
嘿嘿，先拍手，毕竟在台湾办的比赛，自己的比赛自己拍手。
好，这一集呢，其实主要是因为琼斯杯打完了。那这次来台湾的外队啊，其实有蛮多的讨论度。那首先呢，我们恭喜代表美国的 UC Irvine 加州大学尔湾分校拿下冠军，
拍手。这段特别激情，不能因为你的自己的母校就特别激情。
因为我们在美国念书的时候，研究所是在念 UC Irvine 啊，所以因为这一次呢，他们来到台湾，那我们台湾的校友会呢，其实有对他们有蛮多的招待啊，还有蛮多的活动，所以我们一些私人的管道接触，然后了解了很多他们的故事。那我们在这一期节目呢，跟大家分享一下 UCI 的教练 Russell Turner 的一些故事。那我觉得他很特別的地方是，他1996年，27年前。
5岁的时候，我5岁的时候，
没问题，没问题，几岁他就来过台湾。那时候他代表的是美国的 ACC 联盟的明星队的教练 ，ACC 很强，大家知道 ，Wake Forest， 当时他在威克森林大学是 Tim Duncan 的教练的助理教练。那 ACC 联盟是美国公认强度最高的联盟，像北卡、Duke 都是在这个联盟当中。这一次呢，他来到台湾，他带了当时的秩序册。
哦，念旧
他带了当时的秩序册，还有当时
他的球员证、
他的证件。好，那这个秩序册呢，他保存得非常好，他非常有心，而且呢，在中间我们还看到非常多的照片，包含了我们翻到谁呢？翻到红国队龙哥的照片，
还真年轻，
后取秋的照片，跟现在长得是一模一样。那另外翻到裕隆队林庭谦的父亲。小杨哥林正明当时呢是裕隆队的教练，而且呢这本秩序册里面有趣的是，当时韩国队的后卫金商直
就是现在韩国队的总教练
KGC 安阳 KGC 总教练，所以事实上你看很多缘分串在一起，所以我觉得在这一期节目当中呢，我们要来跟Russell Turner 教练好好聊一下他的执教哲学是什么，为什么他这次来到台湾 UCI Irvine 的这个校队在台湾可以获得我们很多球迷的肯定，我们来听一下他的访谈。
People are really curious about you. I mean, the audience in Taiwan, because we heard that you ever been in Taiwan in 1996.
Yeah.
Were you a student, were you a player, or were you a coach at that time?
I was a coach. I was an assistant coach on a team of college players from the ACC conference. And it was a team that was sponsored by Nike. And the intention of that team was to bring Tim Duncan.
Okay.
But Tim Duncan was unable to come.
Oh.
I was coaching Tim Duncan at Wake Forest during that time. So I came as an assistant coach, and the head coach on that team was another assistant from Wake Forest. But it was a great experience for me. It was my first time in Asia. Obviously, I didn't know near then what I know now about Taiwan, but I had a great experience on that trip. And as a head coach now at UC Irvine, I've wanted to come back to the Jones Cup.
Would you compare the major difference, I mean, or your passion that last time you came here and this time?
And the thing that made the biggest impression on me was how friendly the Taiwanese people were towards our team 27 years ago, and they have also been that on this trip. And those are maybe some of the most important things. But everything else has changed, I think, and grown here in Taiwan. My team and I just had a wonderful tour day yesterday. We went to Taipei 101. That building was not here when I was here 27 years ago. I don't think there was a subway system 27 years ago when I was here.
No.
Yeah, so it's a very different city now.
Do you still remember the players that last time you came here in 1996, players, do you remember them?
Yes, oh yes. In fact, two of the players that were with our team, Joseph Eminette and Jerry Braswell, were the two guys from Wake Forest that I coached. When I found out that we were coming to the Jones Cup, I called them to tell them.
Oh.
Because I stay in touch with them, and both of them told me, they said, Coach, that trip changed my life.
How?
I think these two people had never, like all of us at that time, had never been to Asia. The world was much different then. There was no internet, there was no way of knowing other cultures the way that we were able to learn things by making this trip. So both of those guys, as you know, older men now, could recognize that was a special opportunity for them to come here. And I now get to give that same opportunity to the players on my team. And there's no better feeling as a coach. In 1996, North Korea brought a team. And North Korea had a guy who was nearly 8 feet tall. He was a fascinating player to see and to play against. And we got that opportunity in 96.
Okay. So did that trip also change your life? I mean, in terms of
Yes.
like your personal life or like your coaching life?
I think it changed my outlook on life because of the way any type of international travel will broaden your horizons and increase your appreciation for other cultures and other people.
So could I just ask you directly that what is your coaching philosophy for all the years?
My coaching philosophy? Well, number one, you have to fit your team's identity to your players, and you have to get great players. You have to get players, and you have to have a team identity that fits your players.
In terms of a team identity, what is that? Is that like team spirit or like team's goal or like?
It includes team spirit. It's really everything. So for our teams, you know, we like to we think of ourselves as very competitive. We think of ourselves as physically and mentally tough. I like to recruit great size. I like big guys because I'm a big guy myself.
Okay.
So most of my teams.
You played center when you were a player, right?
Yeah, I did.
Okay.
I was not a big center,
Okay.
but I was more of a center than any other thing.
Okay.
But I played with other great players. And so we like to have size and we like to have balance on offense. So we have to play unselfishly. And I realized that at UC Irvine, because the academic requirements there are so high, it pays for me to recruit smart players, adaptable players that I can coach very hard and ask a lot from.
Okay.
And so that's been a big part of our identity.
Do you have like mentors to tell
Yes,
you that,
yes.
or like you up from your observation when you're working with like very good coaches?
Yes, I've been really fortunate as a coach. Every coach I've worked for has been outstanding. Most recently as an assistant, I was with Don Nelson, who's in the Basketball Hall of Fame, one of the all-time winningest coaches in the NBA, played for Red Auerbach in the Boston Celtics, and coached all kinds of great players. He was a tremendous influence on me. Before him, I coached for Mike Montgomery, who also was a Hall of Fame college basketball coach, who then coached in the NBA and took me with him to the NBA. He was outstanding. At Stanford University, where I coached with him. And then at Wake Forest, I coached with Dave Odom, who's another incredible basketball coach. And all three of those coaches have very, very different styles. And so I've been influenced in some ways by all three of those guys. And I have authority, having coached with great coaches and having coached great players, that allows me to push players. And each of the guys that I worked for coached guys hard and were very demanding. And
Very demanding.
oh yeah, very demanding of the small things that make a difference on the margins that have a lot to do with winning games.
Okay, so you mean all the good coaches, they are not just holding a like big picture, but they would ask you to do something like very detailed and to like train your skill.
My team now that I have here is an experienced team. We have guys who've been with our program for a long time, and I think you can see that in the way that we've played, because we play with great energy, and we play with parts that fit well together. And that's shown up for us both on offense here this week and also on defense, which is a big part of our identity. We really try to dictate the games with our defense.
Yeah, it seems that, and we're talking about you seems like a defense-oriented coach. That you put defense on the top of your list.
Well, I do, which some fans may not necessarily prefer, but I think that on the defensive end, we have the best chance as coaches to have an impact. We can get players to play well together defensively, as long as we can get them to be committed and to make great effort and to communicate on the floor and to have great energy. If we can do those things, then we can give them some relatively simple strategy components that we can use to gain advantages against most teams. And now we work really hard to scout our opponents and to try to take them away from the things that are their strengths and force them into parts of the floor and parts of their game that are uncomfortable.
You were talking about that all the UCA players are really energetic. They're full of energy to play every game. But we're kind of surprised and we're kind of impressed that how do you do that?
And I think I do a good job of letting our players understand, helping them understand that it's a privilege to play in an event like this and for a team like ours. We treat our players very well at UC Irvine. We treat them very well, and then we in turn ask a lot from them. And some of the most basic things we ask for include the energy, the commitment and energy over and over again each day. And so it's easy to use video and show guys when they do not have it. And I love to show them when they do not have it as a way to get them to have it, and then we celebrate when we have it.
Oh, so what if a player, he does a lousy play or like he shows no energy at all in a game? Would you stop him immediately or you put him in a game to make him understand you have to play with your full strength?
Yes, my players understand that if they make a poor effort defensively, that yes, I will sub them. And I might point out to them verbally with the things I say that I don't appreciate.
But would it mean too harsh? Would it mean too harsh?
I don't worry so much about being too harsh, and sometimes I'm probably a little too harsh. But I think that the record I have now of producing winning teams gives me some latitude to be a little bit harsher from time to time. But I also am a vulnerable coach with my players. I'm not harsh all the time. I also have weaknesses and recognize those. That's some of what I've learned from the Hall of Fame coaches I've been with. If you find a good balance, you can push harder maybe than sometimes the competition can do.
Okay, how about the Chinese Taipei Team B? We found out in the game that you asked your players to limit your opponent to get points lower than 60.
I did that within that game, but I do that in every game.
Oh, okay.
In every game, if a team's about to get 30, I don't want to let them get 30. I don't want to let them get anything. And so that's a mentality that I'm always trying to instill in my players. So that was not specific to that game. We look at every defensive score that we give up as something that we could personally prevent. And so we want to maintain our energy and our intensity even when we're winning. And the reason for that is because I feel really strongly that the habits, the energy habits that you have on the defensive end, you have to maintain. And if you look out at our team, I want you to see our team more in a stance defensively than our opponents. I want to see our team make more of an effort to rebound than our opponents. I want to see our team run the floor harder and more consistently than our opponents. And some of how we do that is by subbing a lot and using a lot of players. And we have 17 here, 17 players. So every game there's 5 guys who don't get to play, and that's one of the reasons our bench energy is so good. Those guys who are not playing know that if they can't play, the only thing they can give us is that great energy on the bench. Everything about this trip will help our team.
Coach, thank you.
Hey, thank you.
Have a good trip with you.
Okay,
It's my pleasure.
All right.
Thank you.
好，那我们听完 Russell 教练的访谈啊，他是一个很好的演说家，很好的 speaker。那他很有意思的是，他说他在休兵日当天啊，这个他没有在访谈里面提到，就是录完之后跟我们讲，他说球队休兵日那天，他特别去了华西街吃蛇肉，
不可能吧？
喝蛇酒。
为什么？
我问他为什么，他说当时27年前他来到台湾的时候，他说那个时候没有网络。 然后东方跟西方他们觉得是有一个很大的隔阂，所以他当时来到台湾，他觉得说他跳脱他的舒适圈，所以他不愿意去尝试任何台湾新的东西。当时看到蛇肉，他吓歪了。
他是觉得这边是什么蛮荒之地，然后连蛇都抓来吃。
我觉得他有这个意思，但是当时他可能
比较含蓄一点。
对，他没有办法聊。他说我那时候我才20几岁，25、26岁而已，
还太细。
他说对，他说我那个时候其实我没有离开过美国，我不晓得说原来东方的国家是长这样。但是他说这一次他来到台湾之前，他就决定说我要去做我27年前没有做到的事情，所以他就去华西街来了一个蛇肉套餐，吃蛇肉，
喝蛇酒，
然后他吃蛇皮还炸的。他说那个炸蛇皮那个其实就像炸鸡皮，还蛮好吃的。然后我完了回去之后呢，他打电话给当时他那一群来的那个队友，还有那几个教练，他就打给他们说我做到了这件事情。
哎，还回去炫耀哦？
没有，他就说分享
分享，
跟那些人都还是有联络，所以我觉得这故事蛮有意思的。那这个教练很特别，是因为我们 UC Irvine 在先前没有打进过 NCAA 64强过
锦标赛。对，
那他从2010年开始来到我们学校执教之后呢，他就开始带领球队，终于打破校史纪录，第一次打进了 NCAA 64强。
那真的很难呢，因为他
打进过第2轮哦。
那更难呢，因为他那个比赛是你整年的比赛打完之后，你要有排名，然后每个分区不同的排名，然后只有1-2支球队可以真的打到锦标赛。
就是在我们那个联盟当中的联盟冠军才可以打进这个季后赛。
如果讲到 NCAA 64强，中华白的有一个球员也打过64强，就是马建豪。那我特别跟小马有聊到一件事情，因为在这个琼斯杯期间呢，关于球队气氛这件事情，好像大家就很关注嘛，因为毕竟白队有遇到一段连败的时候，那有一些球队气氛啊，那我特别就问了马建豪这件事情，就是说在 NCAA 他也带过 CBA， 然后现在是国家队，球队一定都会遇到输球，那这些不同的体系下面遇到输球，通常会怎么解决？
听听看他怎么讲。
其实在美国的时候，其实刚开始我们开季的时候也是有连败，然后那时候因为我们最后有进到64强嘛，一开始连败的时候有一个网站预测我们进64强那个几率好像很低，就不到5%，可能2%之类的那种。然后教练就把写在板子上面，然后就说：“你看，这是大家对我们的看法，然后我们要怎么改变，我们要怎样？我觉得我们一定可以做到。”然后就是每天就会有那种就是很激情的演讲嘛，就是教练会其实会讲啊，然后我们练球也会很认真，就是很认真对抗那种。因为美国就是团队嘛，然后大家都一定要做好各自的事情，所以教练不能只是跟你说你洋将我今天一定要你做到什么什么，他反而是每个人都要有时间去跟他一对一的沟通，然后说我希望你可以为我牺牲什么，我希望你可以为我做到什么，然后导致这个团队越来越的凝聚。职业赛其实每一场比赛前，教练组都会有一个很详细的一个作战计划，例如针对这个球员，他们王牌球员我们还有什么样的策略，或是他们这个队的风格是什么，所以我们就是100%的照着这个计划进行。那如果最后比赛没有拿下，其实教练也会主动承担责任。
好，那每年夏天的琼斯杯呢，除了我们可以检视一下我们跟世界篮球的一些距离之外，那其实也有很多的朋友。那琼斯杯呢办了这么多年，有很多的老朋友，其中有一个呢，大家其实蛮有印象的，号称卡达飞人。
他是西亚飞人，所以卡达还叫小了，他是西亚飞人。因为主要那时候呢，他跟黄金世代之间，那也是卡达的黄金世代。那段期间呢，西亚飞人亚星，他在台湾其实非常受瞩目了。那主要是他跟中华队之间的对抗。那卡达那几年的成绩，其实也在亚洲突然窜起来。
对，那这次很特别，是我们看到卡达阵中有一个个子非常小的球员
，10号
，15岁而已。我们想说，怎么会有一个高中生来打这个比赛？一问，原来是亚星的儿子，而且他儿子还真厉害，一门3杰。
他大儿子呢，现在是在 NBA Academy。然后亚星的说法是呢，他预计2年内会打上 NBA，会参与选秀这样。那二儿子呢，就是今年来琼斯杯打球的阿布杜拉，然后15岁，那已经有国家队的经验，然后有一些超龄的表现。还有一个小儿子12岁，然后也准备在美国的体系下面打球了。
好，那我们听一下亚星怎么说。
What your opinion about 15 years old and play a national team?
Yeah, the strategy is we have a young group of players. Not only my son, we have another number 24, I think, Mohamed Nadaw. He's only 16 as well, and we have number 14, I think, Mohamed Hashim. He's born in 2004. and my another son is 2006, and we have a group of players we're preparing for 2027, the World Cup, the one we host in Qatar. He's still growing. He's a point guard position now, and only 14. Hopefully he can get taller and can be a big, tall point guard. So now is the time to play again as a senior team, and just feel free, and he has the all skills. He can shoot, he can pass, he can dribble. So as I say, this is a good tournament. So, and in the future, I'm planning to send him, maybe next season to high school, 2 years in America, and then college for 4 years. So that's
let them play in the States.
Yes.
看完那个访问影片之后呢，其实我还是对一个 play 印象很深刻，就是讲到他儿子这个，因为在现场看的时候呢，觉得他真的很瘦，觉得说只是放进名单里面，可能不见得会上场。我们还在开玩笑说他是不是来帮学长们捡球。然后有一个 play 我印象很深刻，是卡达对中华蓝的时候，在第3节最后一集的时候，是给这个小朋友来处理。然后呢，他前面对的对手呢，不是别人，就是林炳胜。
哎呦，
然后呢，他左晃右晃之后呢，做了一个很漂亮的 step back， 然后还真把球投进了。所以我那个对这阿卜杜拉，他是那个亚新15岁的小朋友，印象非常深刻。
而且他事实上他在下一个攻防的时候，在第4节攻防的时候，还成功抵耐掉阿巴西，他还能够顶阿巴西，阿巴西要被打他还打不进去哦，所以这个 guts 真的是没话讲。将来这中华队会是
一个对手了，
我们碰到他这要小心。好了，那我们这期节目呢比较特别哦，其实带来一些外国朋友的一些说法。但我们这期节目呢只会在影像化播出。那我们 podcast 节目呢，同时呢会播出的是有关于中华队蓝白队对这琼斯杯的说法。所以呢，我们给大家2个不同的选择，希望喜欢篮球的朋友呢都可以支持订阅我们的节目。希望第一排，我们下次再见，
拜拜。